Ever get that feeling? You know, like when you're scrolling through company reviews and you stumble across one that just makes you cringe.
Hmm.
Makes you really go, "Oof, dodged a bullet there."
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, buckle up, because today we are diving deep into one of those reviews.
Oh boy.
We're talking about a scathing critique from a former Deliveroo business development manager, and let me tell you, it is a doozy.
All right, so we're talking Deliveroo, huh? I'm always interested to see what's cooking behind the scenes of these gig economy giants. Employee reviews can be super insightful, you know?
Totally. They give us a glimpse into a company's culture, straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's like getting the inside scoop, no sugarcoating.
Exactly. And this review is about as sugar-free as it gets. I mean, this person straight up calls Deliveroo the worst company you could ever work for.
Mm-hmm.
That's harsh.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty extreme. While it's important to take a single review with a grain of salt, that kind of language definitely raises a red flag. It makes you wonder what could have led to such strong feelings.
Right. And it doesn't stop there. The reviewer goes on to describe outrageous expectations and a non-existent work-life balance. Is this just par for the course in the food delivery industry, or is there something more specific going on at Deliveroo?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I mean, the gig economy, especially food delivery, is notorious for its demanding hours and high-pressure environment. But this review seems to hint at something more, something endemic to Deliveroo's culture, maybe.
Okay, let's dig into that a bit more. The employee also mentions abysmal support from management. I mean, is that just a symptom of a fast-paced environment, or does it point to a deeper issue within Deliveroo?
That's a great point. While fast-paced environments can sometimes lead to communication breakdowns, the lack of support described here feels different, more like a systemic issue. It suggests a real disconnect between management and employees, almost like a sink or swim mentality.
And speaking of sink or swim, this review takes a dark turn when the employee describes the office environment. They say it's dull, gray, and everyone wants to off themselves. Obviously, we hope that's an exaggeration, but still, that's pretty intense imagery.
Yeah, no kidding. While we shouldn't take that literally, it definitely paints a bleak picture of the company culture. It makes you wonder what the vibe must be like at the office to evoke that kind of response. It's definitely concerning.
And it gets worse. The reviewer goes on to rant about Deliveroo's toxic culture, calling management stuck-up cows and claiming that employees are treated as expendable cogs. Yikes.
Oof, yeah, that's not a good look. That kind of language is a clear sign of a toxic workplace. It suggests a culture of fear and blame where employees are afraid to speak up and don't feel valued.
Not to mention, this employee specifically calls out the sky-high turnover at Deliveroo, which they saw firsthand and on platforms like LinkedIn. What does that tell us?
High turnover is definitely a red flag for any company. It suggests that people aren't sticking around, which could be for any number of reasons.
Mm.
Bad management, poor work-life balance, toxic culture, and seeing it reflected on LinkedIn is even more telling.
So we've dissected this particularly brutal review of Deliveroo, but how can our listeners, as informed consumers and potential employees, make sense of all this? What should they take away?
That's the big question, right? I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the drama of a scathing review, but it's crucial to remember that it's just one perspective.
Right, one data point.
Exactly. So I always encourage people to do their homework. Don't just rely on one source, especially when it comes to something as important as your career. Check out Glassdoor, look at reviews from other sites, see what current and former employees are saying on LinkedIn, get the full picture.
Yeah, it's like, don't just read the Yelp reviews, actually go try the restaurant for yourself.
Exactly. It's about being an informed consumer, whether you're ordering a burrito or applying for a job. And look, even if a company doesn't have perfect reviews, it's about understanding the potential downsides and deciding if they're deal breakers for you.
Absolutely. All right, that's our deep dive into the world of Deliveroo, or at least one person's experience there. Remember, folks, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, keep those resumes polished. Until next time.